Hi. I don't know. Okay, hi. Sorry, I still need to do this weird thing, but this YouTube thing. Whoop. I nearly fell completely on my ass. That's nice. That's just, yeah, nice way of ending the week, let's say. So, it's Friday, so, and it's also holiday, at least here. I hope it is also where you are, so you're not working. But, yeah, I'm happy that it's Friday, honestly, because we deserve the weekend. No, I'm actually happy that it's Friday because I'm going to work tomorrow, so it doesn't really matter to me. Okay, sorry. I'm going to stop now saying just irrelevant things, and I'm going to start with this Friday's video because, hi, my name is Joy and I'm an art jeweler, and I'm now the host of this club, which is called the Art Break Club, because it's a 30-minute everyday break that we take where we focus on art and craft and everything that we believe to be important in the art world. And on Fridays we have a roundup of all the news that have happened, everything, well, not everything, but most relevant, what I find really interesting, news, let's say, that around the world. I'm trying to be as around the world as possible, but as I'm going to tell you if I have time at the end, it's proving to be extremely hard to understand what's happening in places that are not like Paris, London and New York. So yeah, sorry, my gas was open because I had been soldering, so I just closed it. The perks of being a goldsmith. So let's start. I'm going to start for this week. I actually rounded up some big and some smaller exhibitions because I thought it was a bit more interesting to just have it more varied. And I wanted to start with this Tim Burton exhibition, which I actually didn't do it because it was Halloween yesterday, but now that I think about it, it's very, it's very on point. So this exhibition started on October 25th and will run through April 21st. You can see I'm seeing the same thing that you see. And I've seen some videos. I'd like to show them, but it's not working with the live and everything. But it seems quite amazing for anyone who's been, whose childhood, teenage years, or even adulthood was touched by Tim Burton. I think his style is very specific and very interesting and fun. I've also seen some of the designs that he's made that when he was younger, and he's an exceptionally good designer, painter, person who draws. And so if you happen to be in London, I think the World of Tim Burton is a very interesting exhibition. It melts different topics, obviously, because cinema and visual art and something that is more immersive, and all these dreamlike creatures and monsters. So it's really interesting. He has a very unique point of view, in my opinion. So if you're there, absolutely, I would say go for it. The second one, this is the Tim Burton exhibition again. I just wanted to share some pictures. I really like these sketches. I've seen that there are some sketches that were made on tissue papers that obviously he did at the restaurant or something, and I don't know, it just looks like the interior part of a very creative, weird mind. I think I would go. If I was there, I would go. So that's all. So the second one I want to talk about is this exhibition, and I thought, I'm telling you not because it's a huge exhibition at the moment, but I just think it's interesting, and it's an exhibition on ecofeminism It's in LA and it's at the Brick, which is a platform for emerging and underrepresented or underrecognized artists in LA. It's free. And I think this concept of ecofeminism is long due, and also it's very interesting. We've had recently a conversation on the fact that social media is promoting always a style of art that is, you know, quicker, that is more entertainment than art. And so I find it very interesting to see how much of a divide there is between the actual, you know, exhibitions that we find in galleries that are curated by a human being that decides that themes like this, like ecofeminism, which is unfortunately still quite niche, but it's becoming more and more known as a term and, you know, as a way of helping, having a solution, or I don't know if solution is the right word, but having an answer, kind of answer to what's happening in our society, you know, with capitalism, climate change, all of that. So I think it's very interesting to see these kind of exhibitions compared that are what it's happening. Like if you as an artist want to have an exhibition in a gallery, you probably need to focus on themes that are a bit, you know, deeper than I tried to use cheap and expensive colors. Let's see which one, which portrait was better, you know, and putting a face in half and having two different portraits, which is what, you know, happens on. I'm not saying that those have to be bad portraits, obviously. I'm just saying that I find it very interesting to see the difference between themes that are defined by a person, a curator, a person who loves their gallery and is, you know, struggling to find a place to give a voice to these artists, and what then the algorithm is sponsoring. I just find it, you know, very intriguing, very interesting. This exhibition is called Life on Earth, Art and Ecofeminism, and as I said, it's at the Brick. There are many artists that are featured in it. They mostly are women, because, you know, it's ecofeminism, or, you know, non-binary people, and it's free if you happen to be in LA. Just, I think it would be very interesting to see. They have many themes. Some of them are more linked to like indigenous like ways of farming, so how to respect the land and not exploit it as we do with very aggressive farming. And there are some plants, like from what I understood, they're actually plants to, like, live plants, seeds, all of that. So it's very much linked to the earth. So it's very much, you know, women, earth, climate crisis, all of that. And anyway, if you're there, it's free. If you have the time, I would absolutely love to go and see it. Unfortunately, I'm in Italy, so it wouldn't be very conscious of me to take a flight to LA just to go and see an exhibition. Unfortunately, I would love it if it was different, but, you know, that's the way it is. Going on, this exhibition isn't that, like, it has been open for a while. It's at the Tate. It will be open until January 26th. I forgot to talk about it, so I'm doing it now. I think the pictures, the photos are absolutely stunning. I'm going to use this article as reference just because there are more photos. And I think this, the way they are exploring, you know, their identity, which is obviously also gender identity and sexual identity, but not only. It's they're from South Africa, and they were, as it says here, they came of age during apartheid. So experiencing all those kinds of forces that are defying your identity, and having either to rebel to them or to adapt and repress some parts of you, because I honestly don't believe that anyone is 100% in any kind of stereotype. So I think any of us needs to in some kind adapt to the stereotypes that are imposed upon us. And obviously if you are in a country with apartheid and you are part of the LGBT community, you're non-binary, your identity is going to be very much, it's going to be not the furthest, but quite far away from the stereotype that our society is going to push on you. So I think it's very I think this picture is absolutely stunning. This, and in the description, actually, I'm going to link all these articles. I think this is one of the best articles, and saying that the way they are putting the cloth on their hands remembers something of a boxer, but they actually, binding their chest. I think that's beautiful. Honestly, I think that's beautiful. If you'd like to read the article, I'm going to link it below because, again, I think it's very interesting. I think these portraits are absolutely stunning, beautiful pictures, and it says here that it's a period of more introspection, and all of these are on show at the Tate. The last part are statues that have been it's a debut, so they're a new product of this artist, and I think they are amazing. So if you're in London, then from now until the 26th of January, you have time. I think there's an Ely Muholi exhibition. It's absolutely stunning. So if you have time, go. I would. I may be going to London at some point, but if I do, I will definitely go see that and the Tim Burton one. If I manage. Anyway, so the big, moving slightly from, exhibitions, one of the big news in the art world this week was that Endeavour, which is the parent company of Frieze and also the Spanish Open, I want to say, I'm not sure. Anyway, some kind of tennis tournament. They want to sell Frieze, or at least apparently they are willing to sell Frieze. They said that Frieze, because they opened Frieze Soul and Frieze, I don't remember, in the last 2 or 3 years. So it has grown enough, and basically they are selling it as an asset, which, okay, we'll see if that happens, what it's going to mean, if it means anything, if they just think that it has grown enough as an asset and they can, then it's profitable to sell. We'll see how that goes, but that was one of the 2 biggest news of this week. And I hate it, honestly, when the biggest news are just business news. And the biggest news, which I'm going to talk, unfortunately, at the end of this video, I think it's the most, I can't say it's boring because it isn't, but I just don't like it. Anyway, going on, the New Orleans Triennial just opened, and it's going to be open until the 2nd of February. It's about climate change, racial violence, and systemic inequity. It's called "The Future is Present in the Harbinger." The future is present. The Harbinger is home. I think the name is really amazing, and also the website is absolutely beautiful. It's quite difficult to navigate, if I have to be honest, but it's quite beautiful if you are there. I think this it's a very interesting exhibition to witness, especially because of the history of New Orleans with climate change, with hurricanes and such, and the way they're putting themselves in the forefront of instead of being like victims, which they are, because obviously climate change is impacting more some communities than others, and communities especially that are in some geographical places other than communities that don't have the means of preparing themselves or saving themselves from climate change. But I think it's very interesting that they want to focus on these themes. I've been to New Orleans in 2019, and I honestly believe it's one of the most interesting cities in the US. So if I was there, I would absolutely go, because I think it's really interesting to see the opinions of the artists that come from the city. I think it's really interesting. Anyway, so that was New Orleans. This week it's ACK, which is Art Collaboration Tokyo, Art Collaboration Kyoto, no, not Tokyo, which is in Kyoto, and it's going to run until the 3rd of November. I think it's a very interesting format because it's a collaboration gallery. Basically, they have national galleries that are collaborating with international galleries. So if I have a gallery and I'm a Japanese gallery, I can invite a gallery from wherever in the world, and we have an exhibition together, rather than having my own booth and then the international gallery having their own booth. So I think it's a very interesting format. They have 69 galleries from 18 countries, and the theme was resilience. Unfortunately, the theme is in Japanese, so the translation something like resilience, the things that connect us, but it was a translation made by Google Translate, so I have no idea if that's accurate in any way, but unfortunately I can't read Japanese, so I couldn't, Also, unfortunately, this is the website, which is quite beautiful as well, but it doesn't say the name of the theme of this year, or at least I didn't find it. So it's not helping me, unfortunately. But anyway, it runs until the 3rd of November. So if you are in Kyoto, I think it's a very interesting, interesting place to be. Also because, it's a slightly different take, and it's unfortunately because of how much the art world is linked to assets, and buying art is considered, at least very expensive art is mostly considered an asset for businesses and very rich people. Unfortunately, it's much more difficult to find the same interest, the same money that goes into art in places that are not, London, New York. I'll have, huge auction houses, huge renowned fairs, all of that. So, I don't particularly like it. And I think it's more interesting to go and see these kind of fairs that are not, just really, really mainstream. I mean, I'm not saying they're niche, but they are a bit more niche than, Frieze or Art Basel, Paris, Miami, whatever, or TEFAF, stuff like that. So if you have the chance, I would absolutely go. I think, as I said, I think this format is super interesting and absolutely worth it. So going on, this is just an article that I was reading on Carolina Caicedo. It's not, it's nothing going on at the moment, but I think her point of view is really interesting. And as you might have imagined, I'm really into climate change. Well, not into, I'm really terrified from, the climate crisis and, what's happening in the US with women's rights, all of that, what's happening, in Sudan, what's happening in Palestine. So with me personally, if you have exhibitions that are gonna, tackle one of those themes, personally, it's gonna touch a chord for me. So it's gonna be more interesting than, having an exhibition on, cars. That's just not my interest, but you can have, I guess, a wonderful, amazing exhibition on cars. It's just not what I usually read about. But if you have any kind of wonderful exhibition that I missed, please tell me. I can absolutely talk about them, and I would love to do it. This is an exhibition that's opened yesterday. It's called Vital Signs, Artists and the Body. It's at the MoMA in New York. And it's artists who question how to be an individual with the society at large. Again, it's an investigation on individuality, and it goes gender, race, sexual identity, but this in this case is rooted in abstraction, which I find very interesting. So it's not too self-explanatory. I want to say too visually direct, because it's an abstract exhibition, or it's based on that, and I think could be very interesting, could be boring, but again, it's the MoMA. So if I was there, I would go anyway. So if you have the chance, this closes the 22nd of February. So if you get the chance, I think it's so this is my take, and I'll try to be very short because we just have 10 minutes. But I think that themes of identity are what is really the problem in our society at the moment. I'm talking mostly about Western society, and the fact that we have, very right-wing governments that have been very loud and present, unfortunately, from my personal point of view. And I think, all of how this is then translating into having less rights for women and LGBT and the LGBT community, I think that is my personal opinion, and I'm not going to dive deep into it because it would just take too long. It's an identity crisis that we're having, and not as a society but as individuals, because since our generation, from younger millennials, Gen Zs, and so on, we have at least in the West, we have the opportunity to do whatever we want, and this opens a question of identity that I think is very profound and very interesting. I think we have precedent when we talk about gender identity and sexuality, because it has been talked about for a longer time, but I think we do have saying that women and men can do whatever they want, they have the same kind of jobs and all of that. I obviously agree with that, but I also think that it opens a question of identity, because you have so many choices that you have to decide for yourself what you want, which in theory is great, but in practice I think it creates a certain level of uncertainty for people. So anyway, this is an exhibition on this kind of identity, and I think it's really interesting to see how these artists, there are also some super established artists like Frida Kahlo and Ana Mendieta. So I think it's also interesting, it will be super interesting to go to understand the curator look, not look, the language that the curator decided to use to explain these themes. So I think absolutely, if you're there, always worth it. And the last thing I'm going to talk about really super quickly is Artissima. Artissima is going to be this weekend, so it started today and will end on the 3rd. Unfortunately, I can't go because I'm preparing, as I told you, 20 times for this fair, but I think there are some very interesting artists there, honestly. And one of them is an Italian artist, actually, which is Emilio Gola. I think this painting is super interesting. He was born in 1994, and his inspiration is everyday stuff, as you can see. I think I just really like this painting. And I thought also this Elila, I don't know the pronunciation, I'm sorry if I butchered that, but again, if we're talking about identity, gender, he's from they are from Nicaragua, and is the name itself is like non-binary, and they are experiencing and expressing all of these themes, specifically linked to Nicaragua and the culture, the machista culture that they are identifying in Nicaragua. I've never been to Nicaragua, so it's not my point of view, it's the point of view of the artist. The other work that I found super interesting is this. It's from Alina Kopitsia. Again, hopefully I pronounced it not terribly. And she's embroidering some sheets from sex workers. So she got sheets from sex workers in Ukraine, and she's embroidering things like bits and pieces of stories of these sex workers, of things that have happened to them, and things like that. And I think it's a very unique art form that I've never seen, but I think it's very interesting. The theme for Artissima was the era of daydreaming, so it was all about dreams and stuff like that. And this was one of the most appreciated booths from Clara Hastrup and Mata, which is the gallery. And it was all, it had all the sounds, fishes, colors. It was very immersive. Sorry that I have to run through this, but we just have 30 minutes. And as I said many times, I don't want to go over that. So the last big news, and before we talk about this, I'm just going to say, remember that on Monday, we're going to talk about the Teenage Years, which is a document on Basquiat, and I'm going to link it below so you can all watch it. You can find it on not all, but many streaming platforms, or if you just Google it, you'll find it for free. Honestly, I've already watched it. It's amazing. It's super interesting. So if you want to just take an hour and watch a beautiful art documentary, that's what we're going to talk about on Monday. And so we have the last 3 minutes before I just continue my work, basically. But so apparently Catalan's banana is going to go on sale in auction. I think this, Bansky's painting that got shredded once it was sold, it's a very interesting thing because you have these artists that are creating quite simple stuff, or even if it's not simple, it's not ever worth those millions that it's sold for, in my personal opinion. But they are doing it as a kind of rebellion to that system, but they are so sought after that they are still part of the system. And so this is it's a quotation from Catalan. And it was a sincere commentary and reflection on what we value. If I had it to be at a fair, I could sell a banana like others sell paintings. I could play with the system, but with my rules. And I understand what he's trying to say with the banana, but at a certain point, it's estimated between 1 and 1.5 millions at Sotheby's, and it's literally a banana taped to the wall. So, yeah, I just honestly don't like the fact that art is only seen as an investment, and the only reason why people buy it is because they think that next year it's going to be worth more. And unfortunately, that's what drives at least the very high spending part of the art market. I don't think there is a solution for that. Unfortunately, I can't see it. If you have one, amazing. But yes, the fact that this is the big art news, this is the piece that will go for over $1 million. I find it a bit sad. That's why I put it out for last, because I think the other things that we talked about was so much more interesting than this banana. But I think it's very, relevant in the art world. So it would have been, I needed to at least mention it. And anyway, I'm going to paste all the links below so you can read all the articles. 1 or 2 are in Italian. I'm sorry, but Artissima is based in Turin, so I found better articles in Italian rather than English. But Also, the one on ACK is in Japanese, so I do what I can. And that's all for the art news of this week. I hope I'm going to see you on Monday when we discuss the documentary. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you soon. For once, I can say bye from here.